Hi, this is Lisa Guthrie, 505 Northeast 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98115, and this is Green Lake Plaza Apartments. I'm not trying to flood YouTube. I actually keep hanging up. These are different phones, and I wasn't smart enough to buy a power strip, apparently longer than foot and a half. So there's torque on it, and it's in the window, but it's like there's too much tension, and so it's pulling. Stupid me. Like I said, I saw that sale on 2-for-1 of power strip, and I wasn't thinking of, well, you're gonna need maybe 3 foot of cord at least. Should have held out for one, even add a cord, but still stupid. Anyway, just charging, making sure devices are charging, making sure that I have enough battery, etc. Also, and this is a crime-ridden building. I keep nothing in this apartment of value, and I'm going to get ready for the day. It's 6:11 a.m. It's actually better. I mean, I practice a slowly, leisurely thing, which means you're not going to panic me out into the street unpacked, because I have to act like I'm homeless. I've actually had nice apartments, that I put work into. You don't want to even care about that in Washington. They are cannibal zombies. The place will smell like urine and fecal all day. Fecal because they are torturing people and animals, and I told the police. I have no one else to tell. Nobody is here. They are all cannibal zombies, and these bums committed a genocide, so there would be no one for white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans and white-looking to tell. And the dirty police are involved. So I always, it's a bad joke, but it's the truth. Are you going to call the dirty policeman with a human leg in his mouth in the wall? Now, the bums in 207 are threatening again, and I'm actually going, and they're cocking guns. So I'm going to, they're cocking guns in 207 again! There's at least one dirty policeman, possibly 2 here in the building. North Precinct, both. Or at least one. So, 207 is a huge ambush point. Let me explain also about 207. They also not only cock guns and make threats, but he's got trap doors into 207 and down. So he thinks his guests that shoot me can just slither down. They think that people like Don Larry Blackburn, Michael Ted Hope, Blackmore and Ted Hope Construction, my relatives will just clean up the crime scene. So 207 feels pretty safe in cocking guns. It's actually been heard on Periscope. I just opened the window so you're hearing I-5. And I like to watch cars coming in. They'll brag about advertising victims, even to the point of playing riot to shoot their way in with assault rifles. So nobody is normal, nobody is good in Washington. And they're already making threats in 207. So they're already making threats in 207 and cocking guns. It sounds like that whore Kathy Cox is in there. They're not used to people arguing. People just went with them, especially when the word police was mentioned. So people just would walk off with the dirty police. What you have in Washington is people mixing real laws, fake laws up. They committed a genocide. They made it a third world country in Washington. And I'm not going to listen, so if these things want to get shot by a SWAT team, which could happen even in zombie world, that's okay. She can get shot by a SWAT team, so can the others. And really, there's nothing to protect about these freaks. And Kathy Cox, by the way, in case you're wondering, she's from Burt Gilman Place Apartments. She is a heroin addict. She's a nobody. And I'm doing one of my only feminine concessions. It's not actually feminine. I'm just, making sure my nails are filed. And quite frankly, I live ruggedly, so there's no reason for nails because they just look like they're dirty. It's like you peel your own avocado, and you wash your hands with a wipe, but it's gonna look like you are a farmer. So I'm just making sure my nails are maintained. That's all I'm doing. There's no concession to really anything feminine. Actually, that's just cleanliness because you don't like males with dirty nails either. Or females. And so these are retardos, and they've gotten used to having their own way for 14 years, where you'd actually, like, I've smelled blood for 14 years. There is a station wagon that I see all the time whenever there's a kidnapping or shooting threat, including from 207. It's a blue and silver station wagon, like a teal blue. And now it's gone around. It's long and big. It's one of those big station wagons, and it's got silver foil on the window. I've seen a blackish one like that as well, or it looked like maybe I didn't see it in the light or something. I don't know. So anyway, these bums think you're just going to go and go out in the hall because you hear a stinky whore fucking a gut that's got a policeman for a friend. My way of dealing with it, even though they'll pretend you're crazy, even as they're kicking in your door, you call the police, you turn on cameras also. You call the OPA, you tell them, hey, I've heard that some of these cops are coming here. I've seen one at least, a couple of them, whenever there's trouble. There's thudding underneath, and I want you to know, there's thudding underneath! What is that thud? It's a public bathroom, and it's 6:17 in the morning. There shouldn't be any thudding. I guarantee. So there are trap doors, and also the bums will come up in this closet area here. It's in an S-shaped closet, the bathroom, and then along I-5, there's no windows. Also in the bathroom, they're using a green part of the building, dark green. It's actually used for plumbing and electrical. So if you see me making a face, and I'm cursing zombies, I also pray, but I also tell you what's going on. This is my online diary. And lately I've been hanging up a lot. It's like, well, because they're new phones, and it's like the way they respond with CameraFi is different in some phones. Plus, I've got that problem with the tension and the cords right here where this is located. And instead of a nice home, I spend money on ADT. I spend money on phones and chargers. And then even the food's more expensive because, well, if you're going to have, cannibal zombies around, you're not going to want to use pans. Very little touching is what I like. So I don't like open things, and ADT does not guarantee your safety. You can wake up with a shoe mark or worse with ADT, and they are terrorists as well. You can consider these people in my state to be terrorists. They have threatened every state. They've threatened the president, and they've threatened every major country. They probably also threaten little countries. But anyway, they're terrorists, and the guns, well, that's in the hands of the morons that committed the genocide against whites, Semites, Worms against Europeans, and white-looking. My voice is usually hoarse when I'm here because of the smells, and I'm allergic to the smell of blood, and there's a whore bragging about what they did to a dog. And when she's like evincing Europeans here, excuse me, I have to curse. And I spend my days being threatened. and that's at like yesterday I hung out at the library and the Wallingford Food Bank area, and I have nowhere else to go. And every job is a sham. I couldn't recover, and now it's to the point, like, I won't even volunteer. Why? Now, I'm not white, I'm actually part black, but these are black Nazi-run agencies that you'd even be volunteering for, and they cut up people, it smells of blood, and a lot of the charity, it's actually to people that have carved people up, they're black Nazis and those who cater to them. There is a truck coming in, C36, and then there's a 739A or something on the end. Male, green coat, like a charcoal gray truck. And whenever there is a kidnapping threat, it is good to actually tape what's going on. I would be taping one of my phones, my older phone. That's why it's an older phone. Even a cheap phone is working better than the older phone. Where's the older phone? And I have to actually make sure it has all its little updates. That could be the problem. It's not working on Wi-Fi, but I can still use it to call 911. But it's not liking getting Wi-Fi from my other phones. So it's, there's a certain point at which a phone becomes a brick anyway. And if that won't respond after making sure it has its critical updates, then it's not even worth it. And I used to hang out in my storage because there's nowhere to go and just close the door and then charge my phone. It's so dangerous up there. And the thing is, in Washington, they're rapists and they're torturers, murderers, and that's how they also committed part of the genocide. They'll just have some moron walk off with you. You can tell my allergies. It's even if I can smell it. I can, yeah, that was smart. Ooh. I can, and my voice is worse. So they're playing, the sickos are playing babies. And so they may have had children. And they actually will cook up a roast made of people. And that's the danger of meat, because you can't tell. And they can put it in other things too, but with meat, you can't tell if it's a person or a tortured animal. So I gave up meat. And we're listed as a pink state. What does that mean? Well, apparently, there's not as, I have to keep tools, there's not as much meat allegedly consumed in the state. Well, that's because it's off the radar. It has been for years. And in fact, from what I've heard, my own sister, Dawn Blackmer, and her husband, Larry Blackmer, and my brother, Michael Tudhope, they've been cannibals for over, since the 60s, 59 probably. So I'm going to set up a heater, and so these bombs, by the way, are involved in spreading poisons and plagues. So I'm going to turn on the heat in here. This is where I'll be changing. You might say, why would you change in the bathroom? And there's a bum playing here to be Martha Stewart to me, and he's making a slave threat in 207. Would I ever be well organized in a household again? No, there's no reason to. I can't even live here without people pounding from below, hiding in the closet, bragging that it's only 2 minutes to bring in. So that's a clear-cut slave threat, and he's going to end up on a gurney. There's a bomb in 207 making a slave threat and kidnapping. even if it's just next door, it's kidnapping. And I think it's an ugly white male that I took video of yesterday at the library. There's at least 2-3 people. Sometimes if they have deep voices and they're zombies, some of them are hard to tell apart. And this is an ugly white male. He sounds very much like an ugly Indian male. And he has blonde hair, operative word, white looking, white operative word. A lot of these bums destroyed whites, but they're also walking around with all these identities. So looking like the person they destroyed, he's probably got 10 identities at the very least. So it's an ugly, pudgy male. He was threatening me. He had a laptop. They loan out laptops at the library. I wasn't paying attention. I was just telling him off for threatening me and making sure he was on videotape. So, like I said, you're going to see me moving my hands. And by the way, that agency is a big slavery agency. Big slavery agency. It's also a big cannibal agency. You will find that people are feeding and gifting and taking care of the poor by this falsely created system of hurting animals and people, but in regard to people, literally feeding them the poor and giving them their bloody clothes. I mean, they're not showing blood, obviously, in most cases, but I've seen that. So now you wonder. Now I wonder about a bloody couch at Elizabeth Gregory home. And so picture even people who go there if they're in the profile list of the genocide. Oh, and this thing just signaled you can't see it. It's a male in black with dark hair and he's carrying a briefcase. Those are the condos. What you're going to find here is like many generations of victims who victimized in Washington. Nobody's innocent now, but you're going to find many generations of victims that victimized, including someone comes here to commit a crime against me, and then you hear them, crying because they've been, their arm's been cut off or whatever. I'm not kidding. And it's like, I don't have the power to chop through the wall to find them. And they're really not worth it. Why? It's a guarantee they've eaten human flesh and they've been in on torture. So I'm not, I've told the police, I've heard weird noises, I've heard people being struck, I've smelled blood. What else can I do? But the zombies, they're not worth rescue. And the children, even from a very early age, they are cannibal zombies. They're involved in tortures and rapes. These things also, I liken it to a disease. They're very much obsessed with genitals and raping. It's like the very bad seed wants to get out there. It's like the good cell was stripped out. Here comes the bad. I have to drink more water. I ate a lot of sugar yesterday. Clicking noise, closet. So it's crucial that I get a camera over there. I have one camera, but zombies, don't worry about that camera. It's Alfred. It's Alfred, and that is a camera. I was going to wait to charge this phone up a minute. I'm going to just start it. One of the whores is threatening about a needle. So I'm going to get a camera on over here. And zombies will literally stand in there and make noises and hit certain areas of the closet. I won't need Alfred and the other one on. I'll just make sure that this charges. You can still, if you're past a certain level, run even a heavier application like CameraFi. It'll take energy. Periscope seems to take more. Alfred is light. You can actually charge your phone even at a low, if you have a good charging area, like a good wall socket, it'll actually still charge your phone pretty well. And the zombies will kill for an apartment, even if you thought it was ridiculous. This crappy apartment is worth at least $1,046 in market rate. Now, one of those noises, closet, that's closet. So I've got to be prepared to film in case they shot their way in. At least you would see that people shot their way in. And they brag about chopping their way in. Melissa Udd is here, and like I said, 2 dirty cops. There's a bottle making some noise too. There was also, there's a couple, I call them whores. I don't differentiate with Washington zombies. And it turns out calling them whores or harlots, well, let's put it this way. They're involved in rapes. They're involved in torture. They actually will rape. So they're, and then even monogamy for a zombie. Now that's the bottomless. But monogamy for a zombie is, it's not there. Why? Well, if your husband, as part of the zombie satanic practice, is raping armless, legless victims, yes, they do that. And I'm not going to go into big, gory descriptions, or even skinned victims, or all the above. There's nothing normal in Washington. They're all psychopaths. Anyway, so don't even think of monogamy, and think of women who are so grotesque that would help bone males do that. So, do you really think there's anything normal and monogamous about Washington? They're just retarded and repulsive. They're evil. And when I woke up 14 years ago, these retards thought they could literally punish everybody. There's a little something odd that goes on in my phone. It's like it's running 2 programs. It's not listed as an octa-core, but it's actually on CameraFi. You can actually see another program running. It's a weird phone. It's acting like an octa-core. I bought a crappy LG. One was like a year old, one's 2 years old. That's what I was hoping to use one of the. This is the older one, I think. I've got both, but they're acting strange. On the new phones, they're acting strangely. They're acting like they're running 2 programs, but they're all doing split screen, but they're running a program underneath the CameraFi. It's like I can see what's going on. And did I put the split screen there? No. Google remembered the split screen, and we're going to have to go and get rid of the split screen. But it's one of those funny ones where you could look for split screen and you can't find the app. So you're going to have to go into, sometimes you go to the program itself, click, uninstall, it'll show up on the app. And then it'll say, oh, well, you need to get rid of the application permission was in such and such area. So I might find it there. There will not be a Martha Stewart for me in Washington. Why? Well, there is no reason to have anything nice in Washington, and so I don't even bemoan giving away my things. Oh, there's a bomb yapping about an interview that doesn't exist. This is typical language of the game network, like, oh, we're going to tell you what to do, we're going to induct you. They'll have you in on cannibalism and torture, but the moron, or slavery, including making or hurting people as part of the slavery or animals, but the morons will talk in their thick moron voices, calling it an interview. Remember, a lot of them are fat, they're ugly, retarded boogeymen. It's not an interview. And they don't have a right to tell you what to do. So we're talking 30 IQ, illiterate morons playing interview. It's very offensive. Like the guy, oh, there's two people in 207. One of them is possibly, I'm not kidding, a hillbilly cousin named Amy. Sounds like her. She sounds like this. Then the male sounds barely like, barely anybody. That's your average game. Drink more water. So I'm making a noise over here. There is gun cocking in the closet area. That's your average boogeyman in Washington, telling you what to do. Oh, sorry. This is Lisa Guthrie, 505 North 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 9115. Now we're talking about Washington, and everybody is a cannibal zombie. And so I was just doing imitation. So this is a crucial area because bums have climbed up from a green area of the building and they threatened, to break in, and they'll stand and cock guns and threaten to shoot me. This is average in Washington, and there was a genocide of white Semites, warm-skinned Europeans, and white-looking. There's possibly a whore in the hall. So there's usually a mental patient in the hall. It's like they'll try to attack you on several areas. Note in 207, there are usually guns popping and a bunch of morons in there. And I hear a whore possibly in the hall. And one of the whores is an ugly, fat female that looks white with bleachy blonde hair, and she had an ugly scrub male. They've been on video before. Oh, by the way, so she's fat, she's ugly, and she's with a very nasty, ugly black man. She looks like when I put on all my sweatshirts, she's about that big. Maybe a little shorter. So she's possibly in the hall in a very nasty, scrubby black guy. I think they're Crips, by the way. We have a lot of Crips in 207. There's two nasty bums from Wallingford Food Bank. I think they're Crips. A really nasty black guy and a really nasty bleach blonde, short-haired female. Sort of straight hair. She's pretty wide. The nasty black male has kind of a round face. He's ugly and scrubby, and he is a Crip. And the whore is yapping like she has power, even though she's an indigent. And this is what the dirty cops let people get away with. The dirty cops are here too. There's at least one still or two. Officer Rob Howard might be here. And a dirty corpse-like cop. And these bums used armies of indigents and just anybody as cops. And so the horror was telling me, this is what's going to happen if you stay here. What's going to happen is, horror's going to get the SWAT team shooting at us, along with 207, because I'm not putting up with it. So the ugly black guy and the blonde female want your help in committing suicide by cop. Remember, they're all terrorists. They've all threatened other states, other countries. Indirectly or directly, they've threatened the president. She's a fat, ugly slob. Her black boyfriend is not fat, but he's ugly. He's grotesque. They're both moron level, it's guaranteed. That's who the cops like, and they killed anyone nice, normal, pretty. They killed off handsome. So we've got the ugliest people on any planet running around Washington. So if you need to find that crip, he's at the Wallingford Food Bank. He went there yesterday. They always pick up a no-cook bag. Oh, another one is a gross, ugly black male. He's tall. He looks like a jack-o'-lantern with a triangle nose and slitty little eyes. He has a mother with a bent gait. Am I going to listen to any of them? No. They need your help in getting rounded up. But actually, all of Washington, they're showing you there's nobody normal, there's nobody nice in Washington. And there's a horror talking about cleaning up penises. And these bums all have body fetishes, including about taking people's fingers, taking their genital area. They can't keep their mind out of the area. And yesterday, a bus driver and a male that was hassling me on video, a black male, nasty boogeyman, she was a black female, well, the female talks to herself psychotically or to her invisible friends. She stunk of rotten flesh, and so did he. These bums actually like to desiccate the genital area and sprinkle it on food or other items. And she reeked of it, and so did he. They reeked of at least rotten flesh, but I think I know what area. How do I know? Well, when you've heard enough boasting by gang members what certain smells are, you know. Where do I get a lot of my info from? Well, I get it from bums bragging, from bums threatening me, and from what happened. So I know about glass injuries. I've been the victim. Then the retards think that you're closer to what they are. You've been reduced to a bum. She's just we'll pretend she's a heroin addict or a prostitute. So ugly boogeymen. Oh, and by the way, that ugly black male crip was making slave threats, and usually that ugly blonde female makes slave threats as well. There was another ugly, big fat black male. He actually told me, he said, you're going to be a gift. He's on video now. I should try to be more organized and not just get them on YouTube, but I thought I'd use YouTube also. It's a bigger audience of gang members that threaten people, watching them, that is. Bigger audience that watches the gang members threatening people, and also, well, you can get them on both, actually, would be good, because then you've got people that identify those gang members that are local too. And let me tell you that Wallingford Food Bank, they actually have a lot of secret crypts, and besides the Blood, Zetas, Asian Street Gang, M1s, MS-13. They have a lot of secret Crips. There are a lot of blacks and others that are hiding that are Crips, but you've got other people hiding too. You've got like the black bald guy. He's hiding from a couple New York gangs. You've got Officer Bobby of the West Precinct. You have his black Nazi boyfriend that is hiding. Well, he's actually involved in 10 loose gangs, 8 tight gangs. So sometimes we have 13 gangs here because of people, or 14 or more. So 10 plus. But a lot of Crips at that Wallingford Food Bank, that Wallingford Library, and Solid Ground, and Family Works. And by the way, the goal of the gangs is also to induct you and force you into a place of no reprieve, where you're forced to do what they want you to do, and also you might even be portrayed as doing it for years. Here comes a vehicle. It's a minty green with refraction. It's a station wagon, like an icy mint green. So that ugly fat hoe and her ugly boyfriend, they also, it sounds like they nipped into that storage area, and they're retarded, so it's a guarantee they'll have guns. And that ugly, the ugly old security guard, he's involved with just about every indigent, and he's a black Nazi, secret black Nazi. I believe he's part black. And there's gun cocking in 207. And remember, they have Crips over there, too. His family members are Crips in 207. So if you're trying to find your gangs, hey, once they threaten me, I don't care who finds them. And maybe they'll get committed and arrested by people that aren't impressed with Crip, Blood, Zeta, Asian Street Gang, M1, MS-13. You get a lot of collusion. And here's a creepy frog-like male that has harassed me. And he's actually thought he could waylay me on a corner. And there was an incident with a van. And this shiny new car with a retard bum, you do the math. He's 80 years of welfare. He's nothing. Actually poorer than 80 years of welfare. He is retarded and repulsive, and he has tried to waylay me. He looks like a fucking frog. That is the secret of the boogeyman. They've been treated like they're cool, and they're ugly as sin. Nobody would want that ugly maggot ever. He is an ugly, 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 ugly man. And he thinks he's beautiful because he's dragged off women. Look at his big belly even. But he's just ugly. He's an ugly old man. He's grotesque. And so the day he tried to waylay me, it was actually evening, toward the evening, a van, white-looking male drove up practically on the sidewalk, and then that thing was there. You do the math. They use a lot of white or black vehicles. They tend to think they look like military. They like to play military. They like to play military dragging you off. One of the things chanted, you use the food bank. So guess what? There's this redundant criminal activity based on committing a genocide. You did this, you didn't do that. We're going to punish you. And I woke up to that 14 years ago. And I didn't realize that it was extensive and that it was not just me. But remember, if that ugly frogman or the other uglies go near me, it's a crime. And it's stalking, and it's captivity, it's kidnapping. These are ugly dogs. One of the biggest thing they like to play is a false relationship game with ugly turd man like that. He looks like a creature from the Black Lagoon to me. He's as ugly as the Black Lagoon thing. And he's actually tried to waylay me in the hall as well. And there's a big, good old boys game, like we're going to make you ugly, throw glass at you, put it all over your possessions. Then we're going to play, and we're going to rape you. We're going to break in and put a needle in you. You're too nasty. We wouldn't go near you. Yet we're going to hang out in the closet, clicking guns. We're going to threaten you from 207. It's not about pretty. It's about power by monsters. And they won't leave you alone. But they always hoped they could pull out of the game safely by, you're too nasty. Well, that's the creature of the Black Lagoon. He's ugly as sin. Nobody would want that thing or the other things. I'm talking about a male that just drove up in mint green, and he has an African accent. He has dreads. He has a frog-like face. I'm not actually white, and I'll say whatever I want, but you should have been able to say whatever you wanted anyway. All of us should have. Not just blacks talking about, quote, crackers. Or, they shouldn't have been able to make derogatory remarks about Jewish people. Should they? And they just thought they could say anything they wanted. And remember, my relatives are secret black Nazis. I believe there's been a war on white, Semite, and warm-skinned Europeans for over 80 years. Here comes another scum. It's a tall male. He's got a hood on. He's got glasses. He looks white. He's got blue coat, green. Nobody nice, nobody normal comes out of this building. You can't impress me with white either. Once it's a zombie, it's gone. And that scum, where do you think those cars and vehicles are coming from when a scumbag's driving in? They have a lot of welfare ass and welfare face. They're in generations of victims' credit, money, and property. But they also, by the way, targeted anyone pretty, nice, normal, talented, smart. And remember, nice is important too. So ugly creatures from the Black Lagoon took they'll literally walk off in your clothing. I have to think of what I want for breakfast. I think I'll just have some milk and coffee, and I'm going to start getting things ready. And at no point is any male in or near the building allowed near me. They're scum. Nobody wants them. They love playing relationship. Why? So then they can take your money, your apartment, your credit. They can have you as a slave, even have a kidney from you. These are dog men. That was a gross dog man. And they think they're good looking, dragging off women and raping them because they're so retarded. Not just the blacks, but the rest of these shit asses. They actually think that they're good looking or glamorous. I think his gross family lives here. I think that ugly thing's family lives here. There's a whore playing Mark, and she's playing egregious. These bums like to chant and yap as though they are victims. And also, the marking, they're obsessed with making their betters ugly. And even my grotesque family, oh, there's a whore playing argue. Well, I don't have to argue, and you shouldn't argue with them. You just call 911. In fact, I go to different measures because they basically took 911 away from white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans. And there's a whore yapping girlfriend. There is no girlfriend in this place. Oh, and by the way, a female with a teal coat just came in and a gray cap, white looking. I'm going to tell you, if they look like they're not scratched like I am and they're white looking, it's a sinister reason. They impressed their black Nazi and other Nazi friends by torturing and eating people that were white, Semite and warm-skinned European, or white looking. There is nobody nice or normal. There's a moron talking about a condom. They will talk about condoms. You actually, from the image that they're supplying and the threats, you have an image of boogeyman walking around with their, with a condom on, ready to chase you. From 207, 209. And there's a variety of things that, like I told you, there's no monogamy in these gangs. So you're going to find that these women are also arousing the males for rape and torture. And the women become aroused. And they act like it's sexy and sexual when you hear, like, I'll hear people cracking bones and bragging about it, and then they'll brag that they're having sex. And then it's like you hear them like it's supposed to be sexy. They're just sick. Just like there's nothing sexy about the creature from the Black Lagoon. He's an ugly freak. And you know what? You don't have to like blacks. You don't have to like a fat redhead with pink eyelashes either. It's called rape and illegal captivity to force a woman into a relationship with, like, the creature from the Black Lagoon. And am I saying that because he's black? No, he looks like a monster to me. His face looks like an amphibian. That's what I mean. It looks like an amphibian. It's got bulging eyes. It's retarded. Ooh. Remember, they killed nice, pretty, normal in Washington, so that's what you're going to get is ugly and retarded. And they killed intelligent, so you're going to get ugly, retard. It sounds like sewage burbling. That's all I hear is like sewage all day. There's a horror play. They spend, the zombies in 207 included, they spend a lot of time. I might actually leave this on until I'm changing over there. I left, well, I'm going to wash up a bit, but definitely not on cam. It's not that kind of broadcast. There's only 2 legal broadcasts. You can see my old, like my pants, and then you can see the partial room, which I mean, there's a soap in the way or something. Here we go. Soapbox. And so I've actually heard young rapists, and remember the kids are involved in rape from a very early age. I'm gonna look at traffic, and I also, if I turn this outwardly, you'll be able to see that car, even without moving it, maybe. Nah, not very well.